Hello everyone. Now we are going to do a very important and a topic which is frequently asked in MPSC exam for LDA especially, and that is the topic of train and speed problems. Okay, so before we solve some problems regarding this topic, we will first understand some basic concept we need to know. Okay, so starting with concept number one. Okay, so we need to know the formula of speed, that is distance divided by time. Okay, and similarly, if for distance it's speed into time, and for time it is distance divided by speed. Okay, so next concept number two, okay, it's about conversion of units. So we need to know that 1 kilometer per hour, to convert into meter per second, we will multiply by 5 by 18. So 1 kilometer per hour is equal to 5 by 18 meter per second, and 1 meter per second, it is 18 by 5 kilometer per hour. Okay, this unit will be using very frequently in the following sum, so please keep this in mind. Okay, so concept number three, it is about relative speed. Relative speed, it means that if in a question it's given that there are two trains, okay, and they are traveling in a different speed. Okay, so we need to take the relative speed among those two trains. Okay, if the train, okay, if the two trains are traveling in the same direction, okay, if two trains are traveling in the same direction, the relative speed is v1 minus v2. Okay, the v1 is the train speed of the first train, subtracting with the train speed of the second train. Okay, and now for opposite direction. Okay, if the train is traveling in opposite direction, then the relative speed is v1 plus v2. Okay, so remember, if it's same direction we will subtract, and if it's opposite direction we will add, right? So these are some concepts we need to know before solving. Now we will start on with the problems. We'll be doing the problem number one. Okay, it says a train 120-meter long runs at 72 km per hour. How long will it take to pass a man running at 18 km per hour in the same direction? Okay, so what it says in this question is that we have a train, okay, whose length is 120 meter and traveling at a speed of 72 km per hour, and we have a man who's traveling at a speed of 18 km per hour. Okay, and we need to find is the time. Okay, we need to find is the time. How long will this train take to pass a man who's traveling at this speed? Okay, so the first step is that we see that the length of the train is given in meter and the speed is given in kilometer. Okay, we will convert that 72 km per hour. It will be 72 into 5 by 18. Okay, we'll cut this, will be 4, so this will be 20 meter per second, and the speed of the man is 18 kilometer per hour. This will be 18 into 5 by 18, so we'll cut this, it will be 5 meter per second. Okay, so we have done converting that. Now I have said in the concept that if there are two speeds, okay, here we have the speed of the train and the speed of the man, we have to take the relative speed, and also the train and the man are traveling in the same direction, so the relative speed will be 20 minus 5. Okay, that is 15 meter per second. Okay, now we'll find the time. The time is distance divided by speed. Okay, the distance here it's 120. Why 120? Because at this length, okay, at this length of the train will cross the man. Okay, so it's this distance only that the train will cross the man, so it's 120 divided by the speed, it's 15. So if we cut this, this will be, okay, this will be 8. Okay, so it's 8 seconds. So hence option B is the right answer. Okay, now we are going to do question number 2. Okay, so it says a tourist covers half the journey by train at 50 km per hour and half by bus at 30 km per hour and the rest by cycle at 10 km per hour. What is her average speed? So in this question we need to find the average speed, and the formula of average speed is the total time divided by total distance. Okay, so in order to get the average speed we need to know the time and the distance, but in the question neither the time nor the distance is given. So let us consider that the total distance covered by the tourist in her journey is equal to
D, right? So we'll find individually how much distance is covered by the train, bus, and cycle. So from the question, it says that half the journey is covered by train. So if the total is D, then half of that journey is half of D, right? So at a speed of 50, and the time now will be distance divided by speed. So it's D by 2 divided by 50, so it's D by 100. Similarly, for the bus, okay, another half it's covered by the bus. So if half of the distance is covered by the train, okay, another half means half D plus half, right? That is the distance covered by the bus. It will be 1/4 of the total distance, and at the speed of 30 km per hour, so that the time will be D by 120. So next, for the cycle, it says that the rest of the journey is covered by the cycle. Okay, so we will subtract the total distance by the distance covered by the train and the bus. Okay, that will be the remaining, okay, the rest of the distance covered by the cycle. So here, if we solve this, okay, if we solve this, we get the answer to be 1/4 of D. Okay, since speed is traveling at 10 km per hour, the time will be D by 40. Okay, so here we have got the time for the train, bus, and the cycle. Now we will add all these time to get the total time. So it's D by 100 plus D by 120 plus D by 40. So to add this, first we need to take the LCM. So we'll move on to the next page to do that. Okay, so now here it's the total time, that is D by 100, D by 120, and D by 40. So if we take the LCM of these, okay, so it starts with 100, 120, and 40. So if we do with okay, I'll do directly with 10. This will become 10, right? This will become 12, and this is 4. Okay, so now since the smallest is 4, then I'll go with 2. This will be 5, 6, and 2. Okay, I'm going with 2 again. This will be 5, 3, and 1. So the LCM here, it's equal to 10 into 2 into 2 into 5 into 3 into 1. Okay, so if you multiply this, we get the LCM to be 600. Okay, so now this will change to 600, and this will be 6D plus 5D plus 15D. Okay, and this, if we add, it will become 26D by 600. Okay, and we can cut this with 2, so this is 13 and this is 300. So the total time is equal to 13D divided by 300. Okay, so the average speed here will be the total distance. Okay, it's the, you have mentioned before, the total distance is D, and the time it is 13D by 300. Okay, so if we shift this 300 above, will be 300D by 13D. So D cancel. Okay, if we divide 300 by 13, we'll get the answer to be approximately 23.07. Okay, so this is the answer we got. Okay, so you will see which value is close to this answer, and that will be the right option. So we see that option C is close to 23, so option C is the right answer.
Okay, now first you will learn a new concept number 4 before we begin with another problem. Okay, so in this concept it says that when a person travels equal distances, okay, when a person travels equal distances at two different speeds, the average speed is this formula. Okay, what does that mean? It says, suppose instead of a person, I'll consider a train. Okay, so if we have two trains, okay, the distance covered by this train d1 and the distance covered by this train d2, both the distance are equal. Okay, and the speed traveled by this train, suppose speed s1 and speed s2, s1 and s2 are different. Okay, they are different. So here to find the average speed of this two train, we will use this formula if the conditions are like these, if the distance are equal and the speed are different. Okay, so with this formula we'll do the next question. So that is question number 4. Okay, it says John travels half his journey by train and half his journey by train at 130 km per hour and the remaining half by car at 70 km per hour. What is his average speed? Okay, so we have a distance. Okay, suppose we have the distance and John is traveling in this distance, and half of this distance, okay, suppose this is the half, so he traveled by train and half the distance is to travel by car. So the distance here of the train and the car are equal, right? Because it's half of the total distance, and the speed, it's 130 by the train and 70 by the car. So the speed are different and the distance are equal. Okay, so to find the average speed here, we will use that formula. So here v1 is equal to 130 and v2 is equal to 70. So the average speed is equal to twice v1 v2 divided by v1 plus v2. Okay, so substitute the value 2 into 130 into 70 divided by 130 plus 70. Okay, this will be 2 into 130 into 70 divided by 200. Okay, so cancel the 0 0 0, this and this, and 2 and 2. Okay, what is left is 13 into 7. So 13 into 7 is equal to 91 kilometer per hour. So hence option B is the right answer. Okay, question number 5. It says two trains 150-meter and 100-meter long run at 60 kilometer per hour and 40 kilometer per hour in opposite directions. Okay, how long will they take to cross each other? That means we have to find the time. Okay, the distance and the speed is given and we have to find the time. So in here the speed is, there are two speeds given. Okay, so we have to find the relative speed. So before we find the relative speed, first we need to convert the kilometer per hour into meter per second. So 60 into 5 by 18, it's equal to, so if you cut first this, this will be, okay, if you cut with 6, this will be 3 and this will be 20, so it's 50 divided by 3. Okay, if we divide this, answer will be 16.67 meter per second. Okay, so this is s1, okay, speed 1. And next it's 40 into 5 by 18. Okay, if you cut this with 2, this will be 20 by 9 is equal to 100 by 9. Okay, if you divide this, you'll get answer to be 11.11 meter per second. So this is speed 2. Okay, so we have convert that. Now we'll find the relative speed. Okay, so it's given in the question that the two trains are traveling in opposite direction. So if they're traveling in the opposite direction, the relative speed is s1 plus s2. Okay, if it's in the same direction, we subtract. If it's opposite, we add. So this would be 16.67 plus 11.11 is equal to 27.78 meter per second. Okay, so now about distance, it's given that L1 is equal to 150 meter and L2 is equal to 100 meter. Okay, to get the total distance, it's L1 plus L2. Okay, we'll add the length of those two trains, we get the total distance, that is 150 plus 100 is equal to 250. Okay, so the time now, the time it is distance divided by speed. Okay, so the distance here it's 250 and the speed is 27.78. okay, so if divide this, we will get the answer to be 8.99. okay, so this can be approx to 9 seconds. Hence option C is the right answer.